Hey everybody, it's Ty here, or Celev if you want to call me that. Um, this time I'm going to be showing you Fallen Memories for this How It's Made video. I haven't really done one of these in a while. So yeah, also, like always, I'm going to be reviewing this on the DAW that I use of GarageBand. I'm using GarageBand. There's a big misconception that you can't really do much in GarageBand. That is bullshit. You can do so much in GarageBand. It is ridiculous. Uh, but of course, you can do way more when you upgrade to something like Logic Pro, which is what I'm planning on doing later. But for the time being, I'm only using GarageBand because really it's all I need. It's really all any average person needs. So that's what I'm using. Plus, if you're thinking about getting into recording or anything like that, um, if you have a Mac of any type, maybe not any type, but like a Mac, any kind of Mac, basically, more or less, you can run GarageBand pretty well. And I can prove that to you because I'm using a MacBook Air, a 2011 version. So, I mean, if that doesn't prove to you like you can do so much on old equipment, by means, like here you go. That's all of this on a 2011 MacBook. It's crazy. But anyway, I should probably get back to the the uh, the main purpose of this video. So we're going to be going over Fallen Memories. If you haven't heard this song, I advise you to check it out. The link is in the description. But yeah, so let's go ahead and start. So the main idea behind this song was that I wanted to kind of go off of this lick that you hear at the very start. It's kind of offbeat with this 6/8 feel. It's like a da 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 da, something like that. And I kind of wanted to extend on it. Excuse me. I wanted to extend on it with the drums a little bit. So as you can hear on here, I also kind of wanted to make it a little bit confusing. That's why it's so repetitive at the start. So you can definitely hear that. I just repeated that and had it swell into this verse type part, which basically I kind of wanted to keep this kind of confusing theme going, where I kind of sang on the off beats, or what would be the off beats, basically. So I kind of sang it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heads turned broken, discombobulation surrounding. Like it's crazy, it's whack. So I did this, and you can clearly tell when I press play. So yeah, you can hear that. Um, and yeah, I also wanted to have some kind of synth in the background to give this some atmosphere. And as you can hear, I'm using bells. I personally love bells. Love them. Love them so much. They are such a good flavor to add to any kind of song. Maybe not any kind of song, but at least for my stuff that I make, I love bells. Love them. I can personally never go wrong with them. So I'm using, in this case, delicate bells, and I'll show you what that sounds like right here. It's very quiet. Yeah, it's so quiet. But that's kind of how I have to have it in the song to make it sound pretty good. And alongside the bells, I also have this analog stack synth. All of these sounds that I'm using are in GarageBand. All of them. Every single one that I've used so far, at least, are in only in GarageBand. I haven't used a plugin outside of this software to record any of this or to track any of this down. So, and you can hear this too. It's basically just layered along with the delicate bells. And of course, this is a little louder. So, but yeah, so you can hear that. That just gives it a little atmosphere. Same with this Steinway grand piano. This is kind of, if I remember right, which I think I did. Yep, I drenched it in reverb. Again, to give it texture and to give it atmosphere. And I also had it layered with the vocals. So yeah, you can hear that. Now, um, let's see what else I put. I also have Delicate Bells doing some chords along with the where is it? There it is. The layered little triplet thing or whatever it's doing along with the analog synth. So let's hear what that sounds like. Very simple. Very simple. Yep, and then it does the Yep. Very simple. It just adds a little bit of texture in the background. Um, if I had the editing skills, I would add a texture counter, a little up in the corner. Um, but yeah, so um, in the background, kind of far-ish back, not really in the back, but it's present. Let's put it like this: it's present, but it doesn't make itself present, if you know what I mean. So let me go ahead and press play. It's only playing at a certain part. It's doing its own bass thing. It's not really following the guitars at all, actually. So I'll play it with the track and then I'll solo it or isolate it. And that's all it's doing. That is literally it. Um, so yeah, more or less, that is basically what's happening through the verse. Just kind of confusing, meh. Syncopated, if you will, syncopated vocals as well as the drums going along. I haven't showed you the drums yet. Whoopsie, my fault. Here's what the drums sound like. It's straightforward as you would hear it in the full track. And a lot of people say that MIDI drums are really like it's so fake, and it's like, meh. I can agree to a certain point. Yes, you can draw in a pattern. Yes, you can draw in a drum beat, but I feel like it would be way harder than it needs to be if you drew in a drum beat for this kind of song. I feel like it would be better if you just played it on an electronic drum kit and put MIDI through the drum kit, and it makes my life easier to mix anyway. So I just do that. I run it through my electronic drum set. I play it live. I quantize the parts that I need to have quantized so it actually fits in the part. And then I mix it and everything sounds great. Hunky dory. Boom. So, yeah, and if you don't like that, that's fine. That's personal preference. That's fine. So, this works for me. Um, but yeah, I really don't know why I have another drum set track. Boom, gone. Anyway, yeah, so that's kind of all what's happening in the verse, in the first verse at least. Let's go on to, um, yeah, let's go on to the chorus. Or at least, let's go to the pre chorus first and see what happens. It's not really a pre chorus, it's kind of like a verse and a pre chorus. It's kind of like a mix of the two. So, That is the verse. Sorry, my bad. This is the pre-chorus verse-ish. So you can tell here the chord's completely changed. It's kind of a build-up ish thing, and you can hear it more when I isolate these tracks. You can hear kind of what chords I'm doing. And let's go ahead and isolate the bass too, so you can hear exactly what's happening. So here you go. And then everything cuts out. Right when I say "I'm your whore." I really wanted to emphasize that part, and I wanted to soak it in reverb so it would actually linger a little bit until the punchy chorus. So yeah, that's more or less a build up. When I show you the second pre-chorus, the one that's after this, or in the second verse, when I show you that one, that'll really accentuate what is actually happening because I change a certain chord at the very end of it. I'll get more to it later. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and check out the chorus because the drums are doing the same thing. I mean, there's not really much to say. Now that I think about it, I didn't explain what the song was about. So, um, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. So the song is about this guy who wanted to get into being an adult actor, if you will. He did that. He got into the industry, but then the people, the big boys, the bosses in that industry, um, completely took advantage of him. And at first in the song, he loves doing this. He loves doing this. Um, Even though there's kind of this eerie kind of feel to it, and a little bit of the lyrics might say otherwise. But that's kind of just foreshadowing to the second half of the song, where it actually accentuates the fact that he really hates his job and that he wants to go back to what he was originally doing. So yeah, so that's kind of the premise of it. Adult male actor goes in to the adult acting industry and loves it at first, and then people take advantage of him, and he hates it, and he wants to leave. That's basically how the song goes. So yeah, now let's go ahead and get into the chorus. Right as I say whore. Okay, so I love this chorus. Not as much as the second one though. So let's go ahead and focus on this chorus real quick. Um, so usually when I kick something off, I try to make it fuller somehow, make the sound a little bigger. Um, and the way I did this was I wanted to grab a different lick, and I went ahead and panned it on either ear like I usually do. That's usually what I do is to make something sound bigger, I record it twice and put it on each side. God, excuse me. Ugh. Well, I did that, but I did this kind of um, solo-ish rhythm guitar. It's so weird. It's like a melodic rhythm guitar. I'll show you what it sounds like. So that's what that sounds like. Now, that itself, and even then, you can tell from the audio sizes that, for one, I might not have put enough gain on it, and two, two, it just wasn't enough to fill out this big monster feel. Maybe not monster feel, but I'll get more into that later when it hits the second chorus, because man, that shit slaps. Like that's so good. Um, so to make this sound bigger, I wanted to add a center track, and I wanted to do the root power chords basically. That's kind of what I do to make something sound really big. Is the deep low, not low, but just kind of deeper uh, power chords that are in the roots, and I do it with a heck of a lot of distortion. So here you go. Now I cannot remember what this track does, so actually let's listen together and find out. Oh right, okay. So this I wanted to this is kind of more or less in the background, but it's still up front. So it's up front in front of these tracks, but it's still behind the lead vocals. Um, so I kind of wanted to have another melody in the background, just so if you get bored of the melody that I sang, you can grab onto this thing. So this was also an idea that I put just in case I wanted to release an instrumental version of this song, but I decided not to because the other verses are literally just like repeated over and over and over again. Because this song is mainly showcasing the vocals, more or less. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I did. You might be able to hear it. No, you will be able to hear it if you listen to it and kind of pay more attention to that. But for your sake, I will play it isolated. So here you go. So yeah, there you go. Um, and you've heard the main vocals. Those are pretty up front and center. The melody is pretty simple. Um, Please teach me all of your ways. If I remember right, it's the piano is also backing the vocals. Yep, just to add more atmosphere and whatnot. And then the delicate bells are also following along with the analog synth once again. Atmosphere. That's literally it, just texture, make it sound full. And then I wanted to add this kind of accent part where it's um after I say teach me all of your ways. All of your ways. Da 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 da. I wanted to accent that as much as I could with I think I did it in this one. Yeah, I did. But I wanted to accent that, so I added the wide suitcase, analog stack synth, and the delicate bells all doing it at once. So that I mean that's literally all that is. That's just more texture. I'm trying to get back to the spot. Okay, and then yeah. Okay, cool. So that's basically that for the chorus. The drums aren't really doing much. They're kind of just keeping time and hitting hard as it usually should. And then bass is just in the background doing its thing. doing his thing. But yeah, so for the second verse, it's kind of same thing goes ish. I didn't really want to make this too different because I want this song to not only sound catchy, but I also want it to sound complex at the same time. So I kind of just I didn't copy paste, but I did redo some of the parts and just placed them in this section. So yeah, so basically kind of same thing goes. Eyes of void fill deeper, holding reverb, fear the reaper. So I wanted this part to sound super dope. And I'm going to go ahead and isolate the vocals here in just a second to show you how it actually sounds. All the vocal tracks just together. But this part, of course, I wanted to give it more texture. Like I've said 100 times now. But I also wanted to add a lot more of that in the vocals, especially when I said "Fear the Reaper." I wanted to even though it's a very used line, "Fear the Reaper," I still wanted it to shine because it's a catchy phrase. "Fear the Reaper." It's catchy. So to use that as a little hook, I kind of relied on that and whispered a bunch, cranked the gain, and made it sound atmospheric. So I'll go ahead and isolate those vocals and show you what it sounds like. And I'll start from here so you can, again, I guess just keep time. So here you go. Eyes of void fill deeper. Two, three, two. Holding reverb. Fear the reaper. Yeah, so in these other tracks, I once again drenched it in reverb and added a lot more delay, as you just heard. Now, when I did that, I also wanted to make it sound spacious as well. So, as you can see right here, I panned it all in different directions. So it would sound like it's coming from everywhere, more or less. So yeah. Moving on from that, again, same thing. Excuse me. Same things happening with the guitar and the drums as well as the bass. So moving on. Take your time, I don't mind. When all that you do is you poke and you bruise. Digest and taste your toxic waste. Okay, so this part right here was what I was talking about with kind of the pre-chorus thing. The only thing that I changed about this pre-chorus, this section, for the second time, was the last chord. Now, instead of the chord that I used at the very end of this spot, this chord, that chord, da 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 da. I wanted that to have a different feel compared to this one. I think, where did I put it? No, it's right here. So it's that chord compared to this chord. This chord is the seventh in the natural minor scale that I'm using. I'm using C sharp minor. I'm not using C major. I'm using C sharp minor and I'm using the natural minor, so it's the seventh. Basically, the seventh, long story short, will naturally have this kind of gravitation towards the tonic or the do or the one chord, basically the center chord, which in this case is C sharp. So I wanted this to have more of a pull when it goes into the second chorus, which slaps hard. It slaps tits. It's so good. And because of this chord, it drags it even harder into the chorus. So comparing this to this. So that shit just it slaps. Like I said. So now we move on to the chorus, and as you can tell, or the second chorus, as you can tell, there's a lot more shit going on. A lot more. Now, again, for the 400th time, texture. That's all this is. Layers and layers and layers add texture and texture and texture. That's all it does. So when I add more things to this, what I like to do is I like to add a bass, just a nice ground. And in this case, this ground is the just the low power chords. That's it. That's all they are. That's the texture, or that's wow. That I'm saying texture so much. That's the foundation. That's the foundation of the whole thing, right? For the whole chorus. That's the foundation, and then you build off of that. Now, what I like to do, that is a, oh, sorry. Now, what I do for that is I like to add like harmonies to it, and in this case, what I like to do is I like to add octave chords on top of this, and I like to accentuate the or I guess accent in this matter the third or the fifth or whatever kind of harmony would work. Typically, I do the third because that again slaps tits. So you'll hear the low end. Let's see the battery. I'm at 64%. All right, cool. So you'll hear the foundation. Right there, just heavy, chuggy power chords. And then on top of that, you have the, I'm hoping that this is the octave chords. Nope, it's not. That's the lick that I used in the first chorus. And I wanted to extend on it and use it in the second chorus. And I also used the harmony that you heard from the first chorus, and I put it right here. So, yeah. And you already heard what it sounds like, so I don't need to do it again. I think this is the octave chord. Yep, okay. So, in this case, this is the third of the scale, which is so good in for harmonies. It is so good. But I did some kind of embellishment, the da 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 sol fa mi, so, or may in this case. Now, what I did there, I did something other than the third. I held on to the third to have this kind of suspended feel. Da da, and it wants to suspend over to the re, or the second, or the whatever that would be, the E flat, or God, D sharp maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I should know this by now. I really should. But yeah, so that's kind of suspending and waiting for it to go to the re, so it would have this pattern of me, re, do, where it would kind of have this kind of at-home feeling. So you can hear exactly what I just said in the octave chords. Check it out. And then it repeats. Repeats. And the only thing that I changed right here is instead of the da 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 da, it is literally all open. That is the only thing that I changed, and it made it sound much more open, like tenfold. I can't remember what this track is actually. um, what is this track? Duh, I'm so sorry. It's like 1:41 in the morning. So what this track is the other ear. So it's playing the same thing. Um, Again, that's what I like to do is where I play the same thing and pan it on each ear. I just talked about it. It adds, you can guess the word. So, yeah. And on top of that, I think this is, yep, that's the tracking vocal. Um, and then I think these are the harmonies for that vocal. So I'll go ahead and play it just a little bit all together, and then I'm going to go back to the start of the second chorus, and I'm going to isolate all the vocals just so you can hear what that sounds like. Yep, and then it goes into the bridge. So now I'll show you what this whole chorus sounds like with just the vocals. And also, before I play it, you'll also hear that some of the vocals are sung very lightly, and might be a little pitchy. That is either because I recorded it late at night, or I meant to do that. It's one of the two. I don't know. But okay, here you go. Now the falsetto, or whatever I sang, that it would have sucked if I tried to sing that in my chest voice. It really would have, and it would not have been pleasant to listen to. So that is why I chose to sing falsetto there. Singing in thirds. Background vocals. So that scream, the low one at least, or well, I think it was the high. No, I think it was the low one. The low one, I think, clipped really badly, like really badly, but it sounded okay in the mix, so I left it. Um, Typically, you don't want to do that. Like 9 times out of 10, you don't want to do that. But the reason why I did it was because it sounded good, at least with the guitar. Since the guitar itself was distorted, a little bit of clip distortion didn't really sing out that far. It didn't really. Um, I don't know how to explain it. It didn't really show as much as as much as it should have. I guess if I was using a clean toned guitar for any means in this song, this totally would have, like, boom, it's there. Like, you can hear it instantly, and I would have had to redo it. But I didn't think I'd need to. So, because, I mean, I guarantee every single one of you that has heard this song won't even notice. Because it just blends so well. So. You can hear some of the clipping too. Something that I like to do as well with the vocals to make it sound a little more full is I like to layer it in octaves. So I can so I'll sing the main melody, and then I'll sing it an octave higher up. It might not sound pretty when it's isolated, but It makes it sound fuller in the mix, especially when I add plugins like reverb or anything like that. So yeah, so there you go. That's that. Um, Basically, again, the same thing's happening with the bass and the drums. Excuse me. I don't really need to go over what the drums and the bass is doing constantly because more or less it's doing just about the same thing as the guitar, but not to a T. Of course, it's like I treat it as a bass, so I record it what a bass would sound like. I have it recorded as its own instrument, and you can clearly tell at the very start of the thing where it has its own part, obviously. Whoops, but in this case, where it needs to sound as full as possible. Um, in this case, it would follow the guitar. So, yeah, um, the bass doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to have its own part constantly. That is what I have learned. So, yeah, there you go. And this, I just wanted to make it interesting for a little break in the song uh, before it goes into the hardcore solos with the synth and then the guitar. I wanted to have a little break with just the one guitar on the right ear. And then I also have the synth going on in the background, kind of panned to the left a little bit. Not too much, though. Oops. And then you can hear right here that it makes it sound full. It's kind of like a, oh, I meant to do this on purpose. As soon as you hear this slide up into the da 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 da, so you can hear it right there. Now, this part's interesting. It really is. So this whole time we've been in this kind of not like a triplet kind of feel, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? So, and you can clearly tell it is in 6/8. So, 90% of the song is basically it in this kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 kind of feel. But this time I wanted to change it to where it sounds like it's 4 and 2, if that makes any sense. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that. And you can clearly tell when the drums hit in a different way instead of it's now doing so yeah, check it out. And once again, going from this feel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of just like flip of the hat. Like it's so quick. So yeah, so there's that. I'm trying not to talk while I have the music going, so you can actually kind of hear what's going on. But I'll talk when I need to. Again, these are just the octave chords. Once again, panned left and right. They're not doing much. They're just, well, yeah, actually, yeah, they are. They are doing the harmonies. I'm thinking they're doing the thirds. They are. Well, no. Yes and no. So they start with the third. But the way that I have this song set up as the chord progression, it stays on the tonic. It stays on the tonic until it goes to the da 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 da. It stays on the tonic until it goes to there. But it kind of manipulates that in a way because I have the harmonies doing da 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 with the May, the third. Then it goes down to the Re, da 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 da. and then what does it go to? So it goes to the fa after that, the fourth, the da 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 da, and then it goes down to me, re, do, te. Instead of ti, it goes to te, which would be the seventh. Once again, not sharp seventh, not harmonic minor, but seventh, natural minor. Third, 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 second, 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 fourth, 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 third, tonic. Yeah, so third, third, second, tonic, tonic, seventh. That's weird to think like that. Because I don't want to say first. It just sounds weird. So, yep. And then that loop continues. So it gives the synth to have some wiggle room into its own solo. Yay! A synth solo. I've never done one of these. So this was kind of a chuck it in the fuck it bucket and see what happens. So, yeah, that's basically what I did. If I could hit the play button. That's the sound of the thing. When it's isolated, it sounds kind of wimpy. But with everything going on in the background, with the especially with the delicate bells and the synth going on in the background to try to keep some atmosphere going, it makes it sound so much more full. And then what happens after that? Right. The actual solo, or not the actual, sorry, the guitar solo. I have a soft spot for this solo because I think this was the. To me, this solo felt like it fit perfectly. Um, it feels like I did this completely on purpose. if that makes any sense. Usually when I do solos, I don't improvise them and then play them. Of course, I improvise, figure out what I just played, memorize it, and then I record it. But that's not really what I did with this solo. What I did with this solo, I kind of toyed around with it and felt. I tried to feel what felt good, at least, and this felt so good that it feels like that it just kind of works in this. It works more musically compared to my other songs, like the solo to Glass Lotus. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know if it fits as musically as this one. That's on you to decide. I don't know. I feel like it does. But either way, this one, again, I have a soft spot for it. It just clicks with me. It sounds good. I like it. That's basically it. A lot of people would probably say that is mindless shredding. That is not. All of that is subdivided. That is, those are all 16th notes. Yep. So in Facebook videos, you can probably see that I'm doing the solo, and then I'm going down to do the da 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 da. So I'm doing that at the same time. I didn't think I'd want to do it at the time being, but thinking about it now, I totally would have loved to do all of that in one take. But in this case, what I did, if it would stop lagging, in this case, what I just did, I just put it onto the other tracks right here. I think, at least. Yeah. And in these the guitar parts I'm doing right here, I'm playing the kind of this octave chord and the because I'm playing this in drop C sharp, so I'm playing the lowest note and the octave chords at the same time, so it has this kind of chord-ish feel. And of course, at the same time, I'm doing it as a harmony, so each guitar is playing it differently to have this kind of triad feel, this 1-3-5 feel. But I don't know. Maybe not 1-3-5. Basically, what I'm saying is that one is following the tonic in thirds, and the other one is following the third in thirds. As stupid as that sounds, I think that's what happened. That's what happening. That is what's happening. It's almost 2 in the morning. Again, not mindless shredding. That was all subdivided. I wanted this part to sound confusing as shit. I really did. I really did. This part, I kind of wanted to do something like I didn't think I could make something sound confusing with the drums until I did this fill in particular, and then it just worked. So I wanted to do something that was kind of confusing unless you were really paying attention. So typically in the drum set, the for this kind of fill, if I actually wanted the viewer to be like following along at the appropriate tempo, I would start off with the snare. Basically, I'm doing this kind of Mike Portnoy or this Portnoy kind of fill. The with the right left on the hands, and then the right left on the feet. Cha cha do do cha cha do do cha cha do do. And if I would want you to feel on the beat, I would start with the snare drum. So instead of I'm speaking like a drummer right now, but I wouldn't do that. I would do so I would start on those beats instead of you know what I mean? I might sound like a crazy person, but now because it starts on the foot pedal, it sounds a little offbeat. Actually, no, it sounds completely offbeat. I'm starting with the foot on beat, but I'm using the snares as an offbeat to make it kind of sound weird. And then until I do that, so it's a little weird. It's cool. I explain shit really odd, but that is okay. If you made it this far, I am very surprised. So, I mean, hope you're enjoying this. If you made it this far, go ahead and comment down below or anything like that. Make sure to check out my other videos. Drop a like, anything like that. Show me that you support this. So, back to the video. Going into the last chorus, it is the same as this chorus. Now, some of the stuff is copied and pasted, only for consistency purposes. I want this to. I want my songs to sound as close to studio as possible. You know what I mean? Not maybe. I mean, ideally, I'd like to do it like radio ready, but I'm a fucking like 19-year-old dude recording in another room. Like, I'm surprised I'm able to do this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to simulate getting it radio ready with this old copy paste trick. Basically only for consistency. In my newer pieces of music that I've been working on a lot more actually now. By the way, new stuff is coming soon. In my new music that I've been working on, I've been trying to stray away from that because I've kind of had this not aha moment, but I've been thinking to myself like, I don't know if that's genuine enough. Because all I am, I'm just a kid in Wyoming, just Wyoming. Oh, I'm just a kid in Wyoming making music in some small town, you know. So I'm just doing everything that I can to make it sound good. And in this case, I copied and pasted, but um, the more that I'm coming to the conclusion that I'm just some guy in Wyoming, the more I'm thinking like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna record the things that I want to record um, as best as I can. So, and it really shows with the new remake of When the Shell Falls. All of that, all separate recordings, no copy paste, no nothing. So, yeah. Um, and then there's just for this song, there's just the last chorus. Once again, nothing changed about it. It is the exact same, basically. Um, some parts were copy pasted, not all of them though. Um, but the majority of it was the MIDI stuff that I do for like synth and whatnot. I copy and paste those most of the time when I'm copying and pasting stuff. It's 9 times out of 10 the synth that I'm doing, um, because MIDI is it doesn't have as much detail that you need to capture as if you're doing something with a microphone or if you're doing something with analog guitar or anything like that. So yeah, and then it just plays out with the last chorus, and then it goes into this little lick right here, just to hit the stop button on it. Boom, that's it. So there you go. That is the whole thing. That is Fallen Memories in its entirety. If you have any questions about this, go ahead and comment it down below. And if you made it this far, congratulations. uh, I'll try to do more stuff like this here soon, but again, it just takes so long to record these things, and I bet it takes a long time to just watch them. So, again, thank you for watching if you tuned in at any point in time in this video. And yeah, I'll go ahead and talk to you later. Most of this stuff is just it's fun to record, and it's really nice to just make music and try to get my art and my ideas out there. And I appreciate all of you that listen to my music and give me good feedback on them. So thank you very much. New stuff is coming. I will make some Facebook posts about that kind of stuff here soon. Go ahead and check out my Facebook page if you haven't, Celev Music. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.